went out to play this afternoon. I thought she was with her, and now she's missing.
How old is she?
She's 8 years old.
The minimum period of parole eligibility is 15 years plus 25 years to life in accordance with Penal Code Section 12022.53D. This is to be concurrent with the municipal.
This is Brandon Spencer, a 21-year-old man who was given a sentence of 40 years to life in jail. The crime for which he was arrested took place at a Halloween party held at the University of Southern California in 2012. Spencer, who was 19 at the time, was also present at that party. According to the prosecution, he saw a member of a rival gang who he believed was responsible for a prior shooting that had harmed him. Spencer left the party thinking about seeking retribution and later came back carrying a gun. He fired several rounds at Gino Hall, a rival of his, while Hall attempted to flee and partygoers scurried away in fear. Hall and 3 additional people were hurt as a result of the incident, but there were no casualties.
Show me the proof that this kid is a notorious gang member. My son's getting 40 years to life, and they got different descriptions of what took place.
He thought that he deserved leniency because nobody died, despite the harm he had done. Spencer responded in an unsettling way when the judge read down his sentence, 40 years to life in prison. He lost his cool and acted immaturely by sobbing and hitting his head against a table during the hearing. He apologized to the judge for what had transpired and begged the court not to sentence him to life in prison.
I'm sorry for what happened, Your Honor, but I need to life in prison. And I'm not a bad person, but I made mistakes. But I'm not just some gangbanger that she tried to portray me as.
Spencer adamantly maintained his lack of gang affiliation and stated that he had goals and plans for the future. However, his possession of a gun and his disregard for the safety and dreams of those present at the party contradicted his claims. He appealed and asked the judge to show mercy. Even later, he said it was like seeing his own funeral. There are several online campaigns on social media where his friends and family claim that he was wrongfully convicted. The Change.org Free Brandon Spencer petition is currently signed by nearly 18,000 people. It claims that Spencer is an upstanding citizen who had no affiliation with any gang. But what do you think? Does he deserve 40 years in jail?
He spoke in cold detail of how, with his bare hands, he murdered a defenseless 5-year-old girl.
This is John Freeman, a Niagara Falls teen who committed a horrendous crime. John Freeman Jr., a 17-year-old, brutally murdered Isabel Tennant, 5, in 2008 and disposed of her body in a garbage can. On September 5, 2013, he was given a sentence of 22 years to life in jail. Freeman briefly apologized after his sentencing in Niagara County Court, stating,
I'm so sorry for all that family, but nothing can take away from that. I understand that. I gotta wake up every day with that. So, just ask. Actually, I don't ask. I'm just sorry.
In a touching letter, Isabella's father described Freeman as a disgusting animal, expressing the intense sorrow and rage brought on by this devastating loss.
I will be in pain for the rest of my life. I didn't get to see Isabella start kindergarten, first grade, high school, teach her how to drive, go to her prom, or get married and have children.
In July, Freeman entered a plea of guilty to charges of second-degree murder and tampering with evidence. The incident happened while Isabella was spending the night at her great-grandparents' house while her mother was at work. During the trial, Deputy District Attorney Holly Sloma offered terrifying facts. She said that following his arrest, Freeman brutally explained how he killed the defenseless 5-year-old girl with his bare hands. According to the authorities, Freeman admitted to choking her because she refused to sleep. Isabella's great-grandparents had given her care to their neighbor, Freeman, before retiring for the night. Following the heinous crime, Freeman enlisted the help of his friend Tyler Best, a 19-year-old from Buffalo, to dispose of Isabella's body. The following morning, Best approached Niagara Falls police and reported where he and Freeman had dumped the little girl's lifeless body in a garbage can. According to defense attorney Robert Viola, fetal alcohol spectrum, a birth condition induced by his mother's drinking while pregnant, hampered Freeman's decision-making ability. Thankfully, Niagara County Judge Matthew J. Murphy III didn't buy it. As per him, the fetal alcohol spectrum is still no excuse for your behavior. You crushed her life with no more thought than someone might crush a butterfly. This tragic case sheds light on the horrifying actions committed by a teenager and the immense pain inflicted upon an innocent child and her grieving family.
And when you say use force if needed, was there a discussion about what type of force you might use?
An attack, I guess to kill.
This is Antonio Barbeau, a 14-year-old boy who committed a terrible act back in September 2012. He brutally killed his own great-grandmother with a hatchet. During his sentencing, he broke down in tears, overwhelmed by the gravity of his actions. Antonio was sentenced to a minimum of 36 years in prison, which means he may be eligible for release when he turns 50. He couldn't hold back his tears as he sought to read a statement of remorse.
I know I don't show my emotions much, and I myself am not sure why, but that doesn't mean I don't.
I took away someone's mother, their grandma, sister, friend, when I had no right to do so.
Antonio's eyes welled up with tears as the judge, Timothy Van Ackeren, read the sentence. Judge Van Ackeren called the incident horrific and added that the sentence imposed was the bare minimum for such a wicked act. He stated that, "In my 24 years on the bench, I've not seen anything of this nature, not even close."
Well, less than 24 hours after they did this, they're out buying pizza.
Although the court noted that Antonio had suffered brain damage in a vehicle accident in 2009, resulting in an unexplained cognitive condition, the court stated that this mental issue did not excuse or mitigate the severity of his conduct. Joe DeSecco, the district attorney, expressed condolences for the family and acknowledged their affection for Antonio. He did, however, emphasize that such a crime could not go unanswered or be excused purely on the basis of brain trauma. Antonio's life has been significantly altered, and he will have to wait until he is 50 to receive a second opportunity.
She had on a pair of shorts and a red t-shirt.
She blonde hair, black
No,
hair?
she's got reddish brown hair. It's actually a brown with an auburn tint to it.
What's her name?
It's short. Her name is Maddie. Honey, Maddie is gone.
This is Joshua Phillips, a boy who, at the age of 14, committed a horrifying crime. He killed an 8-year-old girl named Maddie Clifton, who lived nearby. It's a heartbreaking story, and the details are disturbing. Joshua Phillips had a strong attraction toward Maddie's older sister, Jessie. It was evident from the various peculiar items found in his room, including books centered on devil worship and videos he had discovered online showcasing brutality towards cheerleaders. It was clear that Joshua was troubled and disturbed. On a tragic day, Joshua enticed Maddie into his room, where he brutally attacked her. He brutally thrashed her and hid her lifeless body beneath his waterbed.
Then she disappeared, and nobody knows where she's at.
When his first attempt to end her life failed, he resorted to stabbing her in the neck and chest with a knife. It's impossible to imagine the tremendous dread and excruciating suffering Maddie faced during her terrifying ordeal. In 1999, Joshua received a sentence that would confine him to prison for the rest of his life as a consequence of this monstrous act. Back then, such a punishment was mandatory with no room for discretion. However, over time, advancements in our understanding of adolescent brain development have taken place, leading to significant legal judgments.
I don't pretend to know or understand your pain or to grasp the void that I have created in your lives.
Presently, it is widely recognized as unjust to universally impose lifelong imprisonment on young offenders. Instead, such severe sentences should be reserved for exceptional cases and used sparingly. Recently, Joshua underwent a new hearing to reassess his sentence, and it was decided that he would remain behind bars for the duration of his life. This renewed legal process brought forth an overwhelming surge of emotions from both the supportive and opposing family members and friends who had endured the pain of this tragic incident, now revisited almost 2 decades later. The emotions ran high for the family members and friends engaged in the case, regardless of their view on the decision, as the judicial proceedings unfolded some 2 decades later. Their hearts were filled with tremendous feelings, whether they supported or opposed the conclusion. The intensity of the event triggered terrible memories and a flurry of emotions that had lain dormant for years. As they relived the sad events and battled with the devastating impact that they had on their lives, the passage of time seemed insignificant. Thank you so much for watching. As always, please be sure to like this video, subscribe to our channel, and stay tuned for more content like this.